happens that when we are performing sadhana, it feels like we are just marking time, and there never seems an end to our anarthas. Some things may seem to have already gone, yet here they are again. This is because our perverted nature has actually always been here due to our material body and mind, which are influenced by the gunas of material nature. So Raghunath Das Goswami calls this perverted nature dustvatvam. Another word he uses is sathasyapi, meaning I am a cheater and hypocrite. Naturally, in one sense, this mood of struggling devotee is the reflection of the nature of bhakti. Because even when devotee develop prema, they say, I'm still a hypocrite. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu authors an amazing verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 245. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, my dear friends, I have not the slightest tinge of love of Godhead within my heart. When you see me crying in separation, I'm just falsely exhibiting a demonstration of my great fortune. Indeed, not seeing the beautiful face of Krishna playing his flute, I continue to live my life like an insect without purpose. So in one sense, this is the nature of prema. Prema, never known it is within someone's heart. If people say, quote, I have prema, unquote, flee from them, because not only do they not have prema, they have no conscience. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, quote, I have not the slightest tinge. I am a cheater, unquote. Even on the highest level of devotional service, such person feels like a cheater. One devotee, trembling and crying, asked Guru Govinda Maharaj if she would ever develop prema. So he looked at her and said, quote, you will, but you will never know that you have, unquote. This is the nature of love. I have already mentioned that when wandering in the material world, we cannot feel satisfied with anything material. So we look for spiritual love. But when we develop this love, we will be satisfied, but not satiated. We will continue to feel spiritual thirst or spiritual insatiability. In one sense, these words by Raghunath Das Goswami describe both the highest platform and the state of mind of a devotee still on the path. It sometimes seems impossible to eradicate our perverted nature. It is true that as long as we have this material body and mind, our vices will emerge seemingly from nowhere. Then we catch ourselves desiring to enjoy the material world again. Cheaters want to enjoy like Krishna, deeply within convinced that they are meant to enjoy. This lust or desire to enjoy pervades everything. So Lord Chaitanya says, I am Shrata, and even though I am a cheater, despite my complex nature, I'm hoping for your mercy. So this famous verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita describe a devotee as the one who in spite of everything hopes for Krishna's mercy because he knows he is absolutely hopeless. Sometimes we may feel desperate, thinking there is no hope for us. But at this point we remember, quote, Krishna is merciful and his mercy is more than my hopelessness. Despite all my hopelessness, his mercy excels. Unquote. Therefore, Krishna Kripa Karibena Drada Kari Jane. There is this confidence that Krishna's mercies will come. So Raghunath Das Goswami makes a very important point here that in the verse number 8 that we are reading, even if I am a Sata, I'll be able to be rid of it by your mercy. Moreover, he says that you will even give me prema artham, the nectar of prem, and not just prem, but ujjvala prem, which means the most elevated love for Krishna. Dadati api, you will give it to me. There is no getting away from it. He says there is a third thing you will give it to me, and that is the opportunity to show Srimati Radharani. He addresses Krishna directly saying, you will give me these things, you will smash all my wickedness, make my heart absolutely pure, and give me Prema Amrita, Ujjwal Prema Amrita, nectar or immortality, which can give love for Krishna. And you will give me the opportunity to show Srimati Radharani. So I think let's finish this 3-4 paragraph. But in the fourth line, he clarifies when this will happen. Literally, these words mean Tatha Goste. It will happen if I'm in Vrindavan. Gosta means Braj. If I'm here, I will get those mercies if you, my mind, worship Giridhari, the Lord who looked at Govardhan Hill here in Vrindavan. And how will you worship? Kakwa means with one's heart burning, with deep emotion within one's heart. So Raghunath Das Goswami mentioned the devotee he associated with Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Swarup Damodar Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All of them had just left the planet. In the previous verse, he said that all the problem will be solved if I show these advanced devotees, the generals of the army of devotees. But he is no longer able to associate with them because they are no longer here. So in verse 8, Raghunath Das Goswami tells us what we are supposed to do, even if there is no chance of physically associating with an advanced devotee. Listen attentively. He recalls the gift Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave it to him, the Govardhan Sila. This tiny Govardhan Sila is still in the Radha Gokulanand temple in Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself washed this Sila with his tears, leaving his thumbprint on it. That Sila, along with Gunjamala, a garland of small red and black berries, was brought from Vrindavan to Puri and give it to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He later gave that Sila to Raghunath Das Goswami. So Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita describe how Raghunath Das Goswami worshipped the Sila as Krishna himself. He realized that the Sila would be his inspiration now, that this great associate had departed. Raghunath Das Goswami uses the word Giridhari, and it is not without reason that he uses this name of Krishna in the verse. So the commentary continues. We will, and Maharaj is going to talk about the deity worship on the topic. Looking forward for that, and we will be reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. We are on volume 4, chapter 6, titled This Remote Corner of the World. I think we have to read one paragraph to bring up to the speed. These Krishna conscious boys and girls in 60 centers, they are living in the best houses. They are eating the best food. They are in the best consciousness. They have got the best hope, everything best. The future of the body is best. What material happiness do you want more than this? They have got wife, children, happiness, home, everything full. So material happiness is nothing to a Krishna conscious person. Material happiness will roll at his feet, saying, please take me, please take me. There is no need of asking for it. Simply be steady and ask Krishna, please engage me in your service. Then your satisfaction will automatically come. Don't bother for material happiness. That's where we stopped yesterday. So Nanda Kishore has asked, what happens to a person out on the street if we just give him one simply wonderful or some prasadam? Prabhupada, then it is wonderful, simply wonderful. The devotee laughed. He has not tasted such wonderful sweet in his life. Therefore, you give him wonderful. And because he is eating that wonderful sweet, one day he will come to your temple and become wonderful. Therefore, it is simply wonderful. So go on distributing this simply wonderful. Your philosophy is simply wonderful. Your prasadam is simply wonderful. You are simply wonderful. And your Krishna is simply wonderful. The whole process is simply wonderful. Krishna acts wonderfully, and it is acting wonderfully. Who can deny it? So Kirtanand Maharaj, Prabhupada is simply wonderful. Haribol. While Prabhupada continued in New York, poised to leave for London in few days, his secretary mentioned that many US centers were still waiting for his presence. Prabhupada casually remarked that if any center could arrange a good lecture program and pay his travel expenses plus $1,000, then he would go there before leaving for London. Hearing this, the devotees in Gainesville, Florida, determined to meet Prabhupada's transcendental challenge. The temple president, Hridayanand, assigned an uninitiated devotee, David Lieberman, to find a sponsor at the University of Florida willing to pay $1,000 for Prabhupada to come and speak. David visited every student organization on campus until he found a donor. Prabhupada agreed to come. even though his secretary informed him that the flight would lay over 2 hours in Atlanta and then continue to Jacksonville, a 1.5 hour car ride from Gainesville. So we will be starting the another topic, Atlanta, July 29, 1971. The 10 residents of the recently opened Atlanta Temple arranged to receive Prabhupada during his layover at the Atlanta airport. They prepared a large feast and decorated the Eastern Airline VIP lounge with fruit flowers and garlands. Bill Ogley is describing in his own word as follows. Although Srila Prabhupada was not big physically, he immediately captured the consciousness of the entire Atlanta airport where he entered. Everyone was watching as he walked, with his head held high, his cane moving gracefully with every step. The airport is one of the busiest in the country, but everyone who saw Prabhupada looked at him in amazement. Airport official voluntarily began clearing a path for Prabhupada to walk. But what was even more amazing was that he was so submissive to such insignificant disciple as we. Prabhupada entered the VIP lounge with his disciple and about 20 Indian guests. Confronting the portable Vyasasan atop a marble table, Prabhupada declined. The seat seems unsteady, but the devotee assumed him that it was sturdy. So Prabhupada climbed up, sat down, and began leading a kirtan. After speaking for about 15 minutes, Prabhupada concluded his lecture. Quote, "This is not sentimental chanting, but it is based on the soundest philosophy, Vedic literatures. We have got so many books and you can buy them in our bookstore. Where is the bookstore?" There was a long pause. The devotee had remembered fruits, flower, the chair, the feast, invitation to the Indians, but they have forgotten Prabhupada's book. Prabhupada continued to wait for an answer to his question until finally the senior disciple, Janmejaya, replied, "Prabhupada, we usually have a bookstore." Was all Prabhupada said. Again a long silence. "So," Prabhupada says, looking to the audience, "any questions?" Prabhupada chatted with the Indians, asking the names and where they were from in India. And most of them were young men with families and treated him respectfully, like a grandfather or a revered Swami. One Indian man, about 35, mentioned that he was getting his PhD in biology. "Oh, biology?" Prabhupada said. Poor frogs. Everyone in the lounge, except the biologist, burst into laughter. No, the biologist protested, embarrassed. "Why poor frogs?" "Because you are killing," Prabhupada said. "But it is for the advancement of the knowledge," said the biologist. "So it is worthwhile. It is for the advancement of knowledge." All right, Srila Prabhupada. If I ask you now, will you give your body for the advancement of knowledge? Everyone in the room began to laugh. Yes, I would, the man replied. But the more he protested, repeating, "Yes, I would." The more ridiculous he seemed, and the harder everyone laughed. "How many species of life are there?" Prabhupada asked. 50 million, the biologist replied. "Oh," said Prabhupada, "you have seen them all?" "No." "How many have you seen?" "Perhaps 5,000. "And you are wrong," Prabhupada says. "There are 8.4 million pieces of life. We have scientific knowledge from the Vedas." So Bill Ogley is again describing this scene in his own word as follows. "After Prabhupada took prasad, we performed a play for him. The play was, quote, The Brahmanas and the Cobbler. He played Vishnu. It was terrible. I had to be Vishnu, and my wife had to be Lakshmi. I was lying down as Lord Vishnu, and my wife was massaging my foot. Prabhupada kept looking at me, and I thought he must be thinking, who is this rascal playing Vishnu? My feeling was, this is not very good. I shouldn't be doing this. I was very embarrassed to be in front of Prabhupada like that. Jai Sena was Narad Muni, and he offered obeisances about 100 times throughout the play because Prabhupada was there. Jai Sena was constantly offering obeisances to everyone and anything. So although he was playing Narad Muni, he offered obeisances to the cobbler. But some of the Indians spoke up. They were a little taken aback that Narad Muni, such a great saint, was offering obeisances to a cobbler who is ordinarily a very low class person. So at this point, Prabhupada interrupted and began to explain. Actually, he said, it is all right that Narad Muni has offered obeisances to the cobbler because the cobbler is a Vaishnava. Any Vaishnava can receive obeisances more than Brahmana. He continued narrating the play. He told the story and we continue acting. It was aesthetic. As Prabhupada was leaving the lounge to board his flight for Jacksonville, a lady in a wheelchair, the mother of one of the devotees in Atlanta, raised herself up and threw herself at Prabhupada's feet. With tears in her eyes, she cried out, quote, I'm dying of cancer. Save me, unquote. Srila Prabhupada bent down and put his hand on her head. That is all right, he said. Comfortingly, this is all right. As Prabhupada, garlanded with red roses and magnolias, walked down the corridor toward his plane, the devotees thought that Prabhupada appeared majestic, like a king. He emanated a golden effulgence, and he seemed powerful yet humble. The devotees felt spiritual strength and pledged to follow Prabhupada's teaching. They last glimpsed him walking across the airfield toward the small plane that would take him to Jacksonville. His saffron silk dhoti and kurta blowing in the breeze, he turned to them and waved. So Prabhupada is now came to Gainesville, same day, July 29, 71. Srila Prabhupada asked how fast the car was going and how long it would take them to go to Gainesville. 65 miles per hour, the driver said. It would take an hour and a half. Prabhupada observed the scenery along the highway, pine forest, marshes, exotic birds, and occasional armadillo foraging near the highway. Lotuses and lilies grew wild in the canals along the roadside, and bright sunshine warmed the clear air. Gainesville was a side trip for Prabhupada, a special day of preaching. He had left Shyamsundar, his secretary, in New York and brought with him only Arvinda, his servant. He had come for a day to bring the mercy of Lord Chaitanya to yet another city. When the devotees had picked him up at the airport, he had appeared grave, but on catching sight of the devotees, he had smiled wonderfully. And then, turning to Hridayananda, he asked, "Which way?" He was like a transcendental fighter, asking to be pointed toward the battle. So Prabhupada walked along a flower sprinkled pathway and into the temple. A rented house near the University of Florida campus. In the temple room, he stood moment studying a crude but sincerely executed painting of Lord Chaitanya and his associates. Rudanan asked Prabhupada if he would like to rest, and he nodded. While the devotees performed kirtan, Prabhupada returned to his room, returning later to sit on a large blue velvet vyasasana in a small temple room. In addition to Prabhupada's disciples from Gainesville, Miami, Tallahassee, and New Orleans, many university students and other guests were also present. Quote, "It is so nice to see so many young boys and girls here," unquote, Srila Prabhupada began. In this remote corner of the world, the title of the chapter came, so far away from the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. Prabhupada lectured about the saving grace of chanting the holy name of the Lord. And one of his disciples, he said, had been present when his mother was dying. Quote, because he had been telling her about Krishna and Hare Krishna. She said to her son-in-law, her last words, "Where is your Krishna? Is he here now?" And then she died. For her, uttering the holy name and thinking of Krishna, Prabhupada said she would go to the spiritual world. After Prabhupada finished his talk, a girl reporter from the university newspaper raised her hand. Quote, "I see almost all young people here," unquote, she said. "Why is that?" Prabhupada replied with a question. Quote, "Why are there so many young people in the university?" And the girl reflected a moment. Well, I guess that's the age for education. Yes, Prabhupada said. So this is the age for Krishna consciousness. You cannot teach an old dog new tricks. Haribol. The engagement for which Prabhupada had come and for which the University of Florida was paying $1,000 was to be that afternoon on campus at the Plaza of the Americas. When Prabhupada arrived, several hundred students were gathered near the temporary stage, sitting casually on the grass, lounging beneath the fragrant magnolia trees, and the sky was overcast and rain threatened. As more students gathered, the crowd grew to 500. Then, just as Prabhupada was about to speak, a light drizzle began to fall, and Rudanana came on stage to hold an umbrella over Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, sitting on his Vyasasan, said softly into the microphone, quote, "Someone is smoking," unquote, and the student politely extinguished their cigarettes. No sooner did Prabhupada begin his lecture, however, than a dog started yapping. Prabhupada paused. "Who is that dog?" he asked. When the dog persisted, Srila Prabhupada says, he also wants to talk. Finally, the barking stopped, and so did the rain. But Rudanan continued to hold the umbrella over Prabhupada's head. So while riding in the car back to the temple, Prabhupada asked to hear the tape recording of his lecture. When he heard the dog barking at the beginning of his talk, he laughed. "Prabhupada," Rudanan said, "your lecture was wonderful. Everyone liked it. The student liked it. The devotees liked it. The professors liked it. All right," Prabhupada said. Hare Krishna. So I think there is a new topic start, so we should stop. It should be punctual. Before the devotees leave, we would like to offer them our humble obeisances at the dusk of their faith, because they are so kind, taking austerity to join and support us, our chanting. So, by attaining this mantra, Vanchukalpatarupasya, Kripa Sindhubhaya Vacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, thank you very much for joining. Today and tomorrow will be going to collect the bhoga from the wholesalers, and somehow or other Krishna make their arrangement that I know them for many years. So I just text them the whole list. Yeah. Give me 200 pound of basmati rice, 150 pound of tur dal, long list.